Marcus Langston sat at Sapphire Flame's finest table, his tailored suit crisp, celebrating $1 million deal. The upscale Atlanta restaurant hummed with elite diners. Ethan, a smirking waiter, tripped, splashing scalding lobster bisque across Marcus's chest. Gasps echoed as Ethan's eyes gleamed with malice. Humiliated, Marcus stood, voice steady, and declared, "I own this place." Ethan, fired instantly, hissed, "You'll pay." The viral video sparked a firestorm, threatening Marcus's empire. What would this moment unleash? Before we dive in, tell us where you're watching from. If you stand for justice, hit like and subscribe to join our fight for truth. Marcus Langston leaned back in his sleek office chair, the glow of his laptop casting shadows across Sapphire Flame's polished oak walls, his heart pounding with a mix of fury and hope as he watched the viral video of Ethan's soup spilling. Stunt rack up millions of views across Atlanta's digital sphere in the sticky 90-degree heat of June 2025. The clip, now a sensation on every social media platform, showed Ethan's smirk as he doused Marcus's crisp suit with lobster bisque, followed by Marcus's calm revelation that he owned the restaurant, a moment that should have been his triumph. A defiant stand against the waiter's blatant racism in front of the city's elite diners. He expected the world to rally behind him, to see the injustice for what it was, a black man targeted in his own empire. But as he scrolled through the comments, his stomach churned at the venom spewing from anonymous accounts calling him an arrogant thug who overreacted to a simple mistake. Trolls flooded the internet, their words slicing deeper than the scalding soup, accusing him of playing the race card to bully a hard-working waiter. And by morning, Sapphire Flame's phone lines were silent, reservations canceled, en masse as a boycott spread like wildfire, costing Marcus thousands of dollars in a single day. His staff, loyal but shaken, whispered about the hate mail piling up. Some scrawled with slurs so vile they made his chef, a burly man named Jamal, turn pale. Marcus, refusing to crumble, dug into Ethan's background, his fingers flying over the keyboard, and uncovered a chilling truth. Ethan wasn't just a random bigot, but a recent hire pushed by Victor Hargrove, a 55-year-old white investor with a stake in Sapphire Flame, a man whose cold blue eyes Marcus had caught glaring at him during board meetings, a man who owned half of Atlanta's real estate and dined with senators. A quick call to a tech-savvy friend revealed Victor had leaked doctored footage to a local blog, a grainy clip that cut out Ethan's smirk and made it look like Marcus had provoked the spill by yelling, twisting the narrative to paint Marcus as the aggressor. The betrayal stung, but Marcus saw an opportunity, his mind racing with a plan to turn the tide. He donned a tailored navy blazer, drove his black sedan 10 miles through Atlanta's glittering downtown, and strode into a charity gala at the Grand Hyatt, where Victor stood sipping champagne among the city's power brokers, his silver hair gleaming under chandeliers. The room buzzed with whispers as Marcus, voice steady but laced with fire, called out Victor's name, drawing every eye. He held up his phone, playing the original unedited video for the crowd, exposing Victor's role in hiring Ethan and leaking the fake footage, his words sharp as he accused the investor of trying to ruin a black man's legacy. Gasps rippled through the ballroom, and phones lit up as guests recorded the confrontation, the clip spreading faster than the first, racking up views as hashtags like Justice for Marcus trended nationwide. By midnight, Sapphire Flame's social media was flooded with support, customers vowing to return, and local news anchors praised Marcus's courage, his inbox brimming with messages from strangers offering donations to keep the restaurant afloat. He drove home under a starry sky, the weight lifting from his chest, believing he'd outsmarted Victor, that the truth had won, his empire safe for now. But as he pulled into his driveway, his phone buzzed with a text from his manager. "Boss, you need to see this." Marcus sped back to Sapphire Flame, his heart sinking as he arrived at 2 a.m. to find the restaurant's floor-to-ceiling. Windows shattered, glass glittering across the pavement like fallen stars, the elegant facade defaced with spray-painted slurs. "Go back to Africa," and worse, scrawled in red so bold it seemed to bleed. Police lights flashed, but the officers on scene shrugged, calling it just vandalism, their eyes avoiding Marcus's as he clenched his fists, the air thick with the scent of paint and betrayal. His staff huddled nearby, some weeping as Marcus stared at the wreckage. the cost of repairs flashing in his mind. Hundreds of thousands of dollars he couldn't spare. A note, tucked under a brick, caught his eye, its words chilling. "This is only the start. VH." Victor Hargrove's initials burned into Marcus's brain, a promise of worse to come. And as he looked up, he saw a news van pulling up, cameras ready to capture his ruin for the morning broadcast. The victory at the gala, so sweet just hours ago, crumbled like the glass at his feet, replaced by a gnawing dread that this was no longer just about a spilled bowl of soup, but a war against a man who controlled more than Marcus ever imagined. He remembered Victor's gala smirk, the whisper of a rumor that the investor lunched with Atlanta's mayor, a man with the power to crush businesses with a single call. Marcus's pulse raced as he realized the boycott, the fake footage, and, now this attack were pieces of a larger machine, one that wouldn't stop until Sapphire Flame was dust. He stepped over the glass, his shoes crunching, and vowed to fight. But a shadow loomed in his mind, the question of how deep Victor's influence ran, and what he'd unleash next to bury Marcus for daring to stand tall. The air grew heavier, the night closing in as a distant siren wailed, signaling that this battle was far from over, and the real storm was just beginning. Marcus Langston stood amid the wreckage of Sapphire Flame, glass crunching under his polished shoes, the red-painted slurs glaring under Atlanta's dawn sun, their sting sharper than the 95-degree heat baking the city in July 2025. His restaurant, once a glittering haven for the elite, now looked like a war zone, the boycott's damage dwarfed by Victor Hargrove's vicious attack, that note with VH still burning in Marcus's mind like a brand. He clenched his fists, vowing to rebuild, his empire too hard won to let a racist investor like Victor, with his senator lunches and real estate stranglehold, bury him. The viral video from the gala, where Marcus exposed Victor's doctored footage, had sparked a wave of support, but the vandalism flipped the narrative, some calling it karma for Marcus's arrogance. His phone buzzed with hate messages, each one a knife twist, accusing him of faking the attack for sympathy. Desperate to turn the tide, Marcus met Laura Whitaker, a 38-year-old PR guru with a dazzling smile and a reputation for saving sinking brands, at a sleek coffee shop 5 miles from Sapphire Flame, its air thick with espresso and promise. Laura, in a crisp white blazer, pitched a plan to rebrand Marcus as Atlanta's underdog, her blue eyes sparkling with confidence as she promised to flood social media with stories of his rise from a one-room apartment to a culinary king. Marcus, wary but hopeful, hired her firm, pouring $200,000 into the campaign, money scraped from his dwindling reserves. Laura delivered, her team crafting heartfelt videos of Marcus mentoring young black chefs, feeding the homeless, and rebuilding Sapphire Flame's shattered facade, each clip shot in the golden Georgia sunlight to scream resilience. The campaign hit like lightning, donations flooding in, $1 million in a week, as hashtags like "Stand with Marcus" trended globally, and customers booked tables months out. The restaurant's phones ringing off the hook. Marcus, watching the numbers climb, felt a spark of triumph, his chest swelling as he walked through Sapphire Flame's reopened doors, the new glass gleaming, the scent of fresh rosemary and garlic filling the air, diners cheering his name like he was a hometown hero. He shook Laura's hand, her grip firm, believing she'd saved his dream, that Victor's grip was slipping. But late that night, alone in his office, Marcus's laptop pinged with a news alert, his heart plummeting as he saw the headline. Sapphire Flame owner slams customers as racist in leaked emails. His breath caught, the room spinning as he clicked the article, finding private emails he'd sent to a friend, raw rants about bigoted diners who'd whispered slurs behind menus, now twisted to paint him as a raging hypocrite who hated his own patrons. Social media erupted, the same voices that cheered him now howling for his head, calling him a fraud, a reverse racist, the donations drying up faster than a summer puddle. Protesters swarmed Sapphire Flame by noon, their signs vicious. Hypocrite. "Langston must go!" chanted by a crowd stretching 2 city blocks, their voices drowning out the jazz spilling from the restaurant's speakers. Marcus, pacing the kitchen, confronted Laura, her smile gone, her eyes darting as he demanded answers. A staffer, trembling, showed him proof. Laura's firm had been wired $50,000 by a shell company tied to Victor Hargrove, the same man who'd hired Ethan, who'd smashed the windows, now pulling strings to gut Marcus from within. Marcus fired Laura on the spot, her protests fading as security escorted her out, but the damage was done, the crowd outside growing louder, bottles shattering against the new windows. He thought it couldn't get worse, that he'd hit rock bottom, his mind racing to salvage what was left. But then a city health inspector, a wiry man with a clipboard and a smirk, pushed through the chaos, slapping a red notice on the door, declaring Sapphire Flame closed for critical violations, citing rat droppings and spoiled meat, lies so blatant Marcus's jaw dropped, his chef swearing the kitchen was spotless. The protesters cheered as the inspector padlocked the entrance, cameras flashing, the news vans circling like vultures, broadcasting Marcus's defeat to millions. He stood frozen, the lock's click echoing like a gunshot, his empire sealed, shut. The crowd's jeers blending with the memory of Victor's note. This is only the start. Marcus's phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. You thought Laura was your savior? I own this city. VH. Victor's shadow loomed larger, his reach deeper, bribing officials, twisting truth, turning Marcus's own words against him, each move colder, crueler than the last. The restaurant, rebuilt with blood and sweat, was gone again. The protesters' signs now littering the sidewalk, their ink smearing in the humid air. Marcus's hands shook, rage and despair warring in his chest, as he realized Laura was just a pawn, the health closure a calculated strike. Victor's way of proving no victory was safe, no ally untouchable. He slipped out the back, the alley reeking of garbage and defeat, his mind churning with plans to fight back, to expose Victor's bribes, but a chill ran through him as he remembered the gala. Victor's whisper about the mayor, a man who could crush him with a pen stroke. The city felt like a trap, its skyscrapers closing in, the heat suffocating, as Marcus wondered who he could trust, what Victor would do next to bury him deeper. Comment number 1 if you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, or if you think Marcus should keep fighting against all odds. Then hit like and subscribe to see how he battles this injustice. Can Marcus outsmart a man who owns the system, or will Victor's next move destroy him for good? Marcus Langston stood outside Sapphire Flame, the red health violation notice flapping in the humid August breeze. Its lies about rat droppings and spoiled meat a gut punch that left his Atlanta restaurant padlocked, the jeering protesters from Laura's betrayal still echoing in his ears as the 97-degree sun scorched the pavement in 2025. Victor Hargrove's text, "I own this city," haunted him, a taunt from a man whose wealth and mayor connections seemed to choke Marcus's every move. The spray-painted slurs from the vandalism now faded but not forgotten, their sting fueling his resolve. The closure wasn't just a setback, it was a public execution of his legacy. The restaurant's gleaming new windows now mocking him, reflecting a city turned hostile. Marcus, his savings nearly drained after Laura's $200,000 fiasco, refused to let Victor win. His mind sharp despite the sleepless nights spent dodging hate calls. He called Jamal Carter, a 40-year-old lawyer with a reputation for dismantling corrupt systems, meeting him at a dim diner 3 miles from downtown, the air thick with grease and whispered plans. Jamal, his bald head shining under fluorescent lights, poured over the health inspection records, his eyes narrowing at the forged signatures and fabricated evidence, promising to sue the city for wrongful closure, a case that could expose Victor's bribes. Marcus felt a flicker of hope, his heart racing as Jamal filed the lawsuit, demanding $5 million in damages and Sapphire Flame's immediate reopening, the news spreading like wildfire across Atlanta's airwaves. Crowds gathered outside City Hall, waving signs that read "Free Sapphire Flame," their chants drowning out the cicadas, while national outlets picked up the story, CNN calling Marcus the face of resilience against systemic racism, his face plastered on every screen, a beacon for the oppressed. The trial, held in a sweltering courthouse, was a spectacle. Marcus in a charcoal suit, his voice steady as he testified about the spotless kitchen, the inspector's smirk, and Victor's shadow looming over it all. Jamal presenting lab reports, proving no violations, humiliating the city's witnesses, their lies unraveling under cross-examination. The judge, a stern woman with silver hair, ruled in Marcus's favor, ordering Sapphire Flame reopened and awarding $1 million in damages, the courtroom erupting in cheers, strangers hugging Marcus as he exhaled, the weight of weeks lifting, his empire alive again. He drove 10 miles back to the restaurant, the padlock gone, the staff buzzing with joy, and planned a community feast to celebrate, inviting hundreds for free plates of braised short ribs and peach cobbler, the scent of spices wafting through. The reopened doors, live jazz filling the air as Atlanta's poorest mingled with loyal patrons, their laughter a middle finger to Victor's schemes. Marcus, raising a glass of sweet tea, felt invincible, the crowd toasting his name, news cameras capturing every smile, his victory tweet racking up 50,000 likes in an hour, the world seemingly on his side. He scanned the room, expecting Laura's betrayal to be the last, believing Victor's grip had slipped, that the lawsuit had broken his stranglehold. But as the feast hit its peak, the music cut off, replaced by the screech of tires outside, red and blue lights flashing through the windows, the crowd parting as a SWAT team in black vests stormed in, their boots thundering, rifles raised, shouting Marcus's name like he was a fugitive. His glass slipped, shattering on the oak floor, as an officer grabbed his arms, cuffs biting his wrists, the crowd gasping, phones filming, the chaos drowning out his protests. The lead cop, a grizzled man with a scar across his cheek, read charges aloud. Possession with intent to distribute, claiming 10 pounds of cocaine were found in Marcus's office. A lie so absurd it felt like a fever dream. Yet the crowds, cheers turned to murmurs, some backing away, fear in their eyes. Marcus, dragged toward the door, caught a glimpse of a familiar face in the shadows. Victor's lawyer, smirking, a puppet master watching his plan unfold. The arrest, timed for maximum humiliation, was no accident. The drugs planted. The raid, orchestrated. Victor's retaliation colder and crueler than the health closure, turning Marcus's triumph into a nightmare. Handcuffed in the back of a squad car, the city blurring past at 40 miles an hour, Marcus's mind reeled. The mugshot he knew was coming already splashing across news feeds, his name now tied to drug lord. The $1 million award meaningless, his freedom on the line. The feast's warmth faded, replaced by the squad car's stale air, the cop's radio crackling with orders. Marcus realizing Victor hadn't just attacked his business but his very existence, using the system to frame him, to strip him of dignity, before a watching world. His hands shook, not from fear but rage, as he pieced together the setup. The office he'd left unlocked during the feast, the lawyer's presence, Victor's text about owning the city now a prophecy fulfilled. The jail loomed ahead, its gray walls a trap, but Marcus's resolve hardened. His lawyer's number on speed dial, his mind racing with ways to fight back, to prove the drugs weren't his, to expose Victor's hand. Yet a chill gripped him. The memory of Victor's gala whisper about the mayor, a man who could sway judges, who could bury evidence, who could make Marcus disappear. The squad car slowed, the jail gates creaking open, the crowd's filmed footage already viral, Marcus's face a symbol of guilt to millions, his victory feast now a footnote, Victor's shadow stretching longer, darker, deadlier. He stepped out, the gravel crunching underfoot, the air heavy with defeat. But his eyes burned, fixed on a future where he'd claw his way out, or die trying. The question of Victor's next move a blade hanging over his head, sharper than ever. Marcus Langston's wrists ached from the cold steel cuffs, the Atlanta jail's fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, casting stark shadows on the grimy concrete walls as he sat in a 6-by-8-foot cell, the air heavy with mildew and despair in the sweltering 98-degree August heat of 2025. The SWAT raid at Sapphire Flame's feast, Victor Hargrove's framed drug charges, and the viral mugshot branding him a dealer replayed in his mind, each memory a fresh wound. The cheers of his community now replaced by the jeers of racist guards who spat slurs like thug through the bars, their boots echoing down the corridor like a countdown to his ruin. His $1 million lawsuit victory, the reopened restaurant, all dust now. Victor's shadow stretching longer, his text about owning the city a cruel prophecy as Marcus faced a bail set at an impossible $1 million. A sum no friend could cover, his accounts drained from Laura's betrayal and the vandalism repairs. The cell's damp walls closed in, the distant screams of other inmates a grim soundtrack, but Marcus's mind stayed sharp, replaying the raid, the scar-faced cop, Victor's lawyer smirking in the shadows, every detail screaming setup. His lawyer, Jamal Carter, visited daily, his briefcase stuffed with notes, his voice steady as he uncovered a paper trail showing the cocaine was planted, the evidence bag seal tampered, the arresting officer tied to a precinct funded by Victor's donations, a web of corruption that made Marcus's blood boil. Jamal filed motions, his bald head sweating as he argued in a packed courtroom, the same judge from the health case listening, her silver hair glinting under harsh lights, her eyes narrowing at the prosecution's weak case. After 3 weeks, she granted release on a technicality, the tampered seal enough to void the charges. The gavel's crack a fleeting victory as Marcus stepped out of the jail, the 90-degree evening air tasting like freedom. His navy suit, wrinkled but his spirit unbroken, the crowd outside chanting his name, their signs a sea of hope under Atlanta's neon skyline. He hugged Jamal, promising to clear his name for good, and called a press conference at a community center 2 miles away, its wooden stage creaking under TV lights, the room packed with reporters and supporters, their applause washing over him. As he spoke, voice booming, exposing the frame-up, Victor's bribes, the system's racism, each word a dagger aimed at his enemy. Social media lit up. Marcus is innocent trending, donations pouring in again, $20,000 in hours, as Sapphire Flame's staff rallied to prep for a second reopening, their texts flooding his phone with heart emojis and plans. Marcus, standing tall, felt the tide turning, his release a middle finger to Victor, the press conference a knockout blow, the city's love a shield against the hate. He drove home, the 10-mile trip through Atlanta's glittering streets a blur, believing the worst was over, that Victor's grip was slipping, his empire within reach again. But as he parked, his phone buzzed with a news alert, the screen glowing with a video that stopped his heart, a deep fake so real it stole his breath, showing Marcus in a dimly lit room, his voice clear, confessing to running a drug ring, detailing shipments, names, dates, every word a lie but flawless, his face unmistakable, the video already viewed 5 million times. His hands shook, the phone nearly slipping as comments poured in, "Liar," and "Lock him up," from strangers who'd cheered him hours ago, the hashtag flipping to dart Marcus the dealer, his supporters turning, their trust shattered. The deepfake spread faster than his press conference, news anchors debating his guilt, the donations halting, Sapphire Flame's reservation line dead again. Marcus, reeling, called Jamal, who cursed, promising to trace the video, but the damage was done. Victor's retaliation colder, sharper than the arrest, a high-tech gut punch that didn't just target Marcus but rewrote his truth. He stepped inside his Buckhead home, the oak door heavy, the silence deafening only to hear shouts outside, a mob forming, their torches flickering in the dark, their voices a hateful chorus. "Dealer! Scum!" As they surged forward, spray painting, traitor, and drug lord across his brick walls, their rocks shattering his windows, glass raining like a storm, one stone grazing his cheek, drawing blood. Marcus ducked, heart pounding, the mob's rage a tidal wave, some faces familiar, neighbors who'd waved at him, now turned by Victor's lie, their spray cans hissing, the paint's acrid stench filling the air. He grabbed his phone, dialing 911, but the line cut out, the signal jammed, Victor's reach suffocating, his power turning Marcus's own community against him. The mob's chants grew louder, a bottle crashing through his living room, the flames licking the curtains, the heat rising as Marcus crawled to the back door, escaping into the humid night, the 10-foot fence his only shield. His home, his sanctuary, was a war zone, the deepfakes lie more devastating than the jail cell. Victor's game escalating from physical to psychological, stripping Marcus of allies, safety, hope. He hid in an alley, the asphalt slick with rain, his cheek bleeding, his suit torn, the mob's distant shouts blending with sirens, his mind racing to fight back, to trace the deepfake, to find Jamal. But a chill gripped him. Victor's gala, whisper about the mayor echoing, a man who could bury evidence, who could turn a city against one man. The alley's shadows swallowed him, the city's pulse a threat, as Marcus realized this wasn't just a fight for Sapphire Flame, but for his very identity. Victor's next move a specter waiting to strike, deadlier than ever. Marcus Langston crouched in a rain-soaked alley, the acrid stench of spray paint from the mob's attack on his Buckhead home still clinging to his torn suit, his cheeks stinging from a rock's graze as Atlanta's humid 96-degree night pressed down like a vice in late August 2025. The deepfake video, Victor Hargrove's latest blow, had turned neighbors into enemies. Their dealer, graffiti searing his mind, a lie that made the jail cell and SWAT raid seem tame. Victor's shadow now a noose tightening with every step. His phone, nearly dead, buzzed with Jamal's warning to lay low. The lawyer scrambling to trace the deepfake, but urging Marcus to find safety. The city's pulse a threat after the mob's torches lit up his shattered windows. Marcus, heart pounding, slipped through Atlanta's underbelly, dodging police cruisers, their sirens wailing 2 miles away, until he reached a rundown barbershop in Vine City, its neon sign flickering, where Tyrell Jackson, a 45-year-old community organizer with a graying beard and a voice like thunder, waited, his eyes warm but wary. Tyrell, a friend from Marcus's days slinging burgers in a one-room diner, offered refuge, pulling him into a back room smelling of aftershave and old leather, promising to rally the streets against Victor, the man who'd framed Marcus, closed, Sapphire Flame, and turned his name to mud. Tyrell's plan was bold, organizing protests to demand Victor's exposure, his network of activists flooding downtown with signs reading, "Stop Hargrove's Lies," their chants echoing off skyscrapers, drawing thousands, black, white, young, old, a sea of fury that shook City Hall, the air thick with sweat and hope. Marcus, hiding in Tyrell's safe house, a cramped apartment 6 miles from Sapphire Flame, watched the protests on a grainy TV, his chest swelling as a major news outlet, Channel 7, agreed to investigate Victor's finances. Their reporter, a sharp-eyed woman named Carla, digging into his real estate empire, her segments airing nightly, hinting at bribes and shell companies, each broadcast a spark that could burn Victor down. The protests grew, 10,000 strong, shutting down Peachtree Street, cars honking in solidarity, and Marcus, peering through cracked blinds, felt a rush, believing Tyrell's movement and Carla's probe were the knockout he'd prayed for, that Victor's grip was crumbling, Sapphire Flame's revival within reach. He shared a beer with Tyrell, the safe house's stale air lightening, toasting to justice, Marcus's faith in his old friend a lifeline after Laura's betrayal, the health closure, the jail cell, all fading like bad dreams. But as the protests peaked, Tyrell's phone buzzed late, his face tightening, eyes darting as he stepped outside, claiming a quick errand, leaving Marcus alone with the TV's glow, a chill creeping in despite the 90-degree heat. Hours later, tires screeched outside, and Marcus's gut twisted, his instincts screaming as he peeked out, spotting 3 hulking figures in black hoodies, their faces masked, knives glinting under streetlights. Victor's hired thugs, their steps silent but deadly. Marcus bolted, grabbing a crowbar from Tyrell's toolbox, heart hammering as he slipped through a back window, landing in a trash-strewn alley, the thugs' boots pounding behind, their shouts laced with slurs. "You're dead, dealer!" The chase tore through Atlanta's fringes, Marcus sprinting 2 miles, lungs burning, dodging a blade that grazed his arm, blood soaking his sleeve, until he hid in a storm drain, its dank air choking him, the thug's footsteps fading. Bruised, bleeding, he staggered to a payphone, calling Jamal, who confirmed the worst. Tyrell, blackmailed by Victor over a decades-old embezzlement scandal, had leaked Marcus's location, the protests a trap to lure him into complacency, the safe house a cage. Marcus's heart sank, Tyrell's laughter over that beer now a blade, the betrayal sharper than Laura's, cutting deeper than the mob's rocks, Victor's game always 1 step ahead. He limped to a new hideout, a friend's garage 10 miles away, the city's skyline a taunt, only to get a call from Sapphire Flame's manager, her voice trembling. Victor had frozen the restaurant's bank accounts, citing fraud, every penny locked, the staff unpaid, the lights off, the dream Marcus rebuilt now a financial tomb. The garage's oil-stained floor felt like quicksand, Marcus's arm throbbing, his empire collapsing, Victor's retaliation a masterstroke, escalating from deepfake lies to physical ambush to economic annihilation, each blow deadlier, colder than the last. He clutched the crowbar, rage drowning despair, vowing to find Carla, to push the investigation, to expose Victor's blackmail. But Tyrell's face haunted him. The protest's chants now hollow. The news vans circling like sharks, ready to feast on his next fall. The garage's shadows swallowed him, the city's heat suffocating. As Marcus realized Victor didn't just want his business, but his soul, using friends, money, blades to break him. He remembered Victor's gala smirk, the mayor's name whispered, a power that could crush entire movements. And now Tyrell's betrayal proved no one was safe, no alliance unbreakable. Marcus's breath steadied, his mind racing with plans to go underground, to fight smarter. But a chill gripped him. The question of Victor's next move a specter. The frozen accounts just a prelude to something darker, more final. Comment number 1 if you've ever felt stabbed in the back by a friend, or if you think Marcus can outwit Victor's deadly traps, then hit like and subscribe to see his next move in this fight for justice. Will Marcus find a way to strike back from the shadows? Or is Victor's next attack already closing in? Marcus Langston hunched in the dim garage, the oil-stained concrete cold beneath him, his arm still throbbing from the knife graze of Victor Hargrove's thugs. The betrayal by Tyrell a fresh scar on his heart, as Atlanta's 94-degree September night hummed with distant sirens in 2025. The frozen bank accounts, Victor's latest strike, had left Sapphire Flame dark, its staff unpaid, his empire a ghost. The deepfake and mob attack now dwarfed by this financial chokehold, Victor's taunt about owning the city ringing truer with every blow. His buckhead, home was a ruin, his allies dwindling. Tyrell's face a reminder that trust was a luxury he couldn't afford. The protests a news probe, a fleeting hope crushed by the ambush in that trash-strewn alley. Marcus, his suit tattered, his cheeks scabbed, refused to break, slipping deeper into Atlanta's shadows, finding refuge with 3 loyal Sapphire Flame employees: Maria, a fiery line cook; Dion, a tech whiz bartender; and Simone, a sharp-eyed hostess who met him in a boarded-up warehouse 15 miles from downtown, its air thick with dust and defiance. The quartet, fueled by rage at Victor's racism, plotted to hit back, Dion's laptop glowing as he hacked into Victor's private email server, his fingers dancing over keys, unearthing a gold mine, messages proving Victor bribed the mayor with $2 million to rig the health inspections, frame Marcus with drugs and fund the deepfake. Each email a smoking gun that could topple an empire. Marcus's pulse raced, the warehouse's cracked walls fading as he envisioned justice, his team working through the night, the 90-degree heat no match for their fire, Maria keeping watch, her butcher's knife gleaming, Simone drafting a plan to leak the emails anonymously. They sent the files to a rogue blogger, Truth Slinger, whose site had 50,000 followers, the post going live at dawn, headlined, Hargrove's Dirty Millions. The emails laid bare, detailing payoffs to cops, judges, even Channel 7's owner to squash Carla's probe, the scandal exploding across Atlanta. Hashtags like Poncher Hargrove exposed trending, Victor's stock plummeting, his real estate deals tanking, investors fleeing like rats from a sinking ship. Marcus, watching the blogger's site hit 1 million views, felt a surge of triumph. The warehouse's stale air electric, his team cheering, Dion fist-bumping him, the leak a direct hit, Victor's name mud, the mayor dodging cameras, Sapphire Flame supporters rallying online, pledging $20,000 to restart the restaurant. Marcus, sipping lukewarm coffee, believed he'd finally landed a knockout, that Victor's empire was cracking, his own legacy salvageable, the frozen accounts a hurdle he could clear with public pressure. But as the sun rose, a news ticker flashed. Fugitive Marcus Langston wanted for cybercrime. A federal warrant accusing him of hacking Victor's server. A lie so bold it stole his breath. The penalty 7 years in prison. Victor's retaliation. Swift, turning Marcus's strike into a trap, his freedom now a mirage. Sirens wailed, closer, 5 miles out, and Marcus's team scrambled, Maria shoving him toward a rusted pickup, Dion wiping the laptop, Simone mapping an escape through Atlanta's backroads. Marcus floored the gas, the truck rattling, a police chopper's spotlight slicing the 90-degree dusk, its roar drowning his thoughts, the chase tearing through 20 miles of suburbs, cop cars weaving, their tires screeching, Marcus swerving, past a blockade, sweat stinging his eyes, the radio blaring his name, armed and dangerous, a lie that painted him a terrorist. He ditched the truck in a pine forest, sprinting through thorns, his lungs burning, the chopper's light fading, his team scattered, the warrant a noose tightening, Victor's hand behind it, the mayor's influence clear in the Fed's speed. Marcus, hiding in a ditch, mud caking his shoes, thought he'd escaped. His breath ragged, the scandal still burning Victor, but his phone, barely charged, buzzed with a photo from an unknown number. Sapphire Flame engulfed in flames. It's new. Windows melting, the oak bar charring. A note attached. You're done, VH. Victor had burned his restaurant to ash. The arson a gut punch deadlier than the warrant. The frozen accounts, the ambush. Each attack more personal, more final. The fire's glow a symbol of Marcus's dreams reduced to cinders. The cost to rebuild $10 million, an impossible sum. He clutched the phone. The ditch's mud swallowing his knees, rage and grief warring, the scandal's victory now ashes. Victor's power to destroy absolute. His bribes shielding him from the leak's fallout. The mayor's silence a wall Marcus couldn't climb. The forest's cicadas screamed. The chopper circling back, its spotlight grazing the trees. Marcus's mind racing to find Dion, to regroup, to fight. But the arson's image seared him. The restaurant's scent of rosemary and garlic gone, replaced by smoke and loss. Victor's note a vow of total ruin. He remembered the gala, Victor's smirk, the mayor's whispered name, now tied to feds, to fire, to a city that hunted Marcus like prey. His team's hack a spark that lit his own destruction. The ditch's darkness hit him, the 90-degree air suffocating as Marcus vowed to rise, to expose Victor's arson, to rebuild. But a chill gripped him, the warrant's weight, the fire's finality, hinting Victor's next move was already in motion, a blade sharper, colder, ready to end him for good. Marcus Langston stumbled through Atlanta's pine forest, mud caking his torn suit, the image of Sapphire Flame's flames searing his mind. Victor Hargrove's arson note. You're done. A taunt that echoed louder than the federal warrant, branding him a hacker. The 92-degree September night in 2025, wrapping him in a suffocating haze as copter blades thrummed faintly overhead. The email leak, his team's strike against Victor's bribes, had sparked a scandal. But the burned restaurant, its charred oak bar a grave for his dreams, and the police chase through 20 miles of suburbs proved Victor's retaliation was a beast, each claw sharper, deadlier than Tyrell's betrayal, the deepfake, or the jail cell. His arm, still scabbed from the thug's knife, ached as he slipped into the city's edges, dodging patrol cars, their red lights slicing the dark, his phone dead, his allies scattered, Dion, Maria, and Simone lost in the chaos of the warrant's fallout. Marcus, his breath ragged, found refuge in a black church in West End, 8 miles from downtown, its stained glass windows glowing softly, the air inside heavy with incense and hope, where Pastor Elena Brooks, a 60-year-old woman with a silver braid and a voice like a storm, welcomed him, her eyes kind but fierce, knowing his story from the news, the mugshot, the fire, the lies that painted him a criminal. Elena, a civil rights veteran, hid Marcus in the church basement, its cinder-block walls lined with old hymnals, feeding him collard greens and cornbread, her sermons upstairs railing against systemic racism, naming Victor as a modern pharaoh, whose wealth choked justice, her words live-streamed to 10,000 viewers, each one a spark that reignited Marcus's fight. The congregation, 200 strong, prayed for him, their voices a shield, and Elena's viral sermon, viewed 1 million times, called Marcus a prophet, not a fugitive, flipping the narrative, the hashtag, #MarcusLives trending, donations flooding, in $50,000 in days. As Atlanta's mayor faced protests over the leaked emails, his office swarmed, the warrant's legitimacy crumbling under public rage. Marcus, watching from the basement on a borrowed tablet, felt hope flicker. Elena's fire a lifeline after the arson's ash, the scandal forcing the feds to drop the hacking charges, a judge citing insufficient evidence, the news breaking. As church bells rang, the congregation cheering, hugging Marcus as he emerged, his wrinkled suit a badge of survival, the 90-degree day bright with promise. He stood on the church steps thanking Elena, believing Victor's empire was cracking, the mayor's silence a sign of weakness, Sapphire Flame's ashes a wound he could heal with the donations, his name half cleared, the city's love a fragile armor. But as he spoke, a news van's feed cut to a televised expose on Channel 7, the same outlet that once probed Victor, now airing a slick report accusing Marcus of tax evasion, claiming he hid $3 million in offshore accounts, backed by forged IRS documents so convincing they silenced the crowd. The anchor's voice cold. Langston's a fraud, not a victim. Marcus's knees buckled, the tablet slipping, the exposé's lies spreading faster than Elena's sermon. 5 million views in hours. Hashtags flipping to "Saw Marcus the Thief." The donations halting, the congregation's cheers turning to whispers, some eyeing him with doubt, the church's warmth chilling. Social media erupted. He fooled us all. From strangers who'd prayed for him, the mayor issuing a statement supporting the IRS probe. Victor's hand clear in the forged documents, his retaliation a masterstroke, escalating from arson to federal shaming, stripping Marcus's credibility, turning allies to skeptics. The IRS, acting on the evidence, seized Marcus's personal assets, his car, his savings, even his mother's old condo 10 miles away. The agent's boots trampling her rose garden, the news filming it live. Marcus's face a symbol of greed, not justice. He retreated to the basement, Elena's hand on his shoulder, but the exposé's venom spread. A mob forming outside the church by dusk, their shouts a hateful hymn. "Thief! Liar!" as they hurled bricks, one shattering a stained glass window, the shards raining like tears, another striking Elena's temple, blood trickling down her silver braid as she collapsed. The congregation screaming, Marcus catching her, his guilt a tidal wave, her injury a wound deeper than the arson, the jail, the knife. The mob, 200 strong, surged, their torches flickering, spray painting "crook" on the churches, brick walls, their rage fueled by Victor's lie. Some faces familiar, donors who'd sent thousands, now turned, the exposé's power absolute, Victor's reach bending even the faithful. Marcus, cradling Elena, called 911. But the line buzzed, jammed. Victor's influence a shadow over the city's wires, the mob's bricks flying, the church's oak doors splintering, the incense drowned by smoke from a Molotov cocktail grazing the porch. He carried Elena to the basement, her pulse weak, the congregation barricading the stairs, their prayers a desperate chant as Marcus's mind raced, vowing to save Elena, to expose Victor's forgery, to fight. But the mob's roar shook the walls. The exposé's lies a noose tighter than the warrant, the arson, the ambush. Victor's game now wounding innocents, escalating to communal harm. The basement's cinder blocks felt like a tomb, the 90-degree air suffocating, Marcus's guilt choking him, Elena's blood on his hands, the mob's hatred a mirror of the city's betrayal, Victor's gala whisper about the mayor now a prophecy. A man who could sway the IRS, who could arm mobs with lies. Marcus's resolve hardened, his eyes on Elena's pale face, planning to find Jamal, to trace the forgery. But a chill gripped him, the mob's flames licking closer. Victor's next move a specter, deadlier, colder, ready to bury him and all he loved in the ashes of his fight. Marcus Langston knelt in the church basement, Pastor Elena's blood staining his hands, her faint pulse a drumbeat of guilt as the mob's bricks crashed above. Their thief chants a venomous echo of Victor Hargrove's tax evasion exposé, the forged IRS lies that turned Atlanta's faithful against him in the stifling 90-degree September dusk of 2025. The church's splintered oak doors, the shattered stained glass and Elena's crumpled form were Victor's cruelest blow yet. A mob attack that dwarfed the arson of Sapphire Flame, the federal warrant, the deepfake. Each strike a colder blade, his gala whisper about the mayor, now a prophecy of untouchable power. Marcus's assets were gone, his restaurant ashes, his allies broken, Terrell's betrayal and the mob's torches proof that Victor's racism could twist even the devout. The city a cage closing in, its skyscrapers looming like sentinels. He carried Elena to a makeshift cot, her silver braid matted. The congregation's prayers a desperate hum as he slipped out, dodging the mob's fading torches, their spray-painted crook, defacing the church's bricks. His heart a furnace of rage and resolve, vowing to end Victor's reign, to save Elena, to reclaim his name. Marcus, his suit torn, his cheeks scabbed, trekked 12 miles through Atlanta's fringes, the humid air thick with magnolia and menace, to a dive bar where he met Carla, the Channel 7 journalist whose probe Victor had squashed, her eyes sharp, her notebook stuffed with leads ready to risk her career for the truth. Marcus, with nothing left but defiance, hatched a desperate plan, infiltrating Victor's Buckhead mansion, a marble fortress 20 miles north, guarded by cameras and goons, its iron gates a taunt of his enemy's wealth. He slipped in at midnight, scaling a 10-foot wall, his arm throbbing from the old knife wound, the mansion's chandeliers glowing through vast windows, the air cool at 70 degrees inside, a stark contrast to the city's heat. Dodging laser sensors, Marcus crept to Victor's study, its mahogany desk piled with files, his heart pounding as he stuffed documents into a backpack, papers detailing bribes to senators, fake IRS audits, even plans to rig a city election, a treasure trove that could bury Victor for good. He escaped as alarms blared, sprinting through manicured lawns, a guard's flashlight grazing his heel, his breath ragged, the 12-mile run back to Carla, leaving him soaked in sweat. The documents, safe, their ink a weapon sharper than any crowbar. Carla, holed up in a motel 6 miles away, pored over the files, her fingers trembling, and published a bombshell report on an indie news site, Hargrove's Empire of Lies, the story hitting 1 million views in hours, detailing his corruption, the mayor's payoffs, the tax evasion frame-up, each word a grenade, Victor's allies fleeing, his stocks crashing, his name poison, protests swelling outside his mansion, 5,000 strong, their signs demanding his arrest. Marcus, watching from the motel's flickering TV, fist-bumped Carla, the report a knockout, his chest swelling with hope, believing Victor was cornered. Sapphire Flame's ashes redeemable, the city's rage a sword against his enemy. He toasted, with a soda, the motel's stale air electric, thinking Elena would smile. That the congregation's faith was avenged, the mob's lies undone. His sister Lena, safe in Savannah, untouched by this war. But as dawn broke, Marcus's phone buzzed. A video call from a blocked number, his blood freezing as he saw Lena, gagged, tied to a chair in a dim warehouse, a masked hitman looming, his voice gravelly. Return the documents, or she dies. Marcus's knees buckled, the motel's peeling wallpaper spinning, Lena's terrified eyes a dagger through his heart, Victor's retaliation a sledgehammer, escalating from mob attacks to murder for hire, kidnapping his family. The documents, now accursed the report's victory ash. The hitman cut the call, but Marcus, frantic, traced the signal to a warehouse 15 miles away, his mind racing. Carla's report useless if Lena died, the protests irrelevant, Victor's power unbroken, his goons a step ahead, the mansion raid a trap he'd walked into. He bolted from the motel, hijacking a bike, pedaling through Atlanta's dawn, the 90-degree heat a furnace, only to be spotted by Victor's hitman, a lean figure in black, tailing him in a sleek SUV, its engine roaring, the chase tearing. Through 10 miles of city streets, Marcus weaving past food trucks and honking cabs, the hitman firing, a bullet grazing his shoulder, blood soaking his shirt, pain exploding as he crashed into a ditch, the bike mangled, the SUV screeching away, Lena's fate a ticking clock. Marcus, bleeding, crawled from the ditch, the city's pulse a threat, Carla's number on speed dial, but her line was dead. Victor's reach silencing even the press, the report's fire snuffed out, the kidnapping a personal wound deeper than the arson, the mob, the jail. Victor's game now life or death, his sister the ultimate leverage. The ditch's weeds hid him, the 90-degree air choking, Marcus's guilt a tidal wave, Lena's face all he saw, the documents heavy in his pack, a choice between justice and family, Victor's hitman a specter, the mayor's shadow a wall, the gala's smirk now a vow of ruin. Marcus's resolve hardened, his shoulder throbbing, planning to save Lena, to outsmart Victor. But a chill gripped him, the hitman's bullets, Lena's gag, proof Victor would stop at nothing. His next, move a blade sharper, colder, ready to sever Marcus's last hope. Marcus Langston lay bleeding in a ditch, the bullet graze on his shoulder burning like fire. Lena's terrified eyes from the hitman's video call seared into his mind. Victor Hargrove's kidnapping of his sister a gut-wrenching escalation, that dwarfed the mansion raid, the church mob, the arson of Sapphire Flame, the humid 91-degree Atlanta night in late September 2025, a suffocating blanket as cop sirens wailed faintly 15 miles away. The stolen documents, Carla's bombshell report, had shaken Victor's empire. But the hitman's chase through 10 miles of city streets, his SUV's roar, the bullets sting, and Lena's gagged plea proved Victor's racism was a machine, each gear colder, deadlier than the deepfake, the warrant, the forged IRS lies, his gala whisper about the mayor now a scream of untouchable power. Marcus's backpack, heavy with the documents, felt like a curse. His choice between justice and family a noose. His phone's cracked screen glowing with Lena's image. The warehouse's location 15 miles north his only lead. Carla's, lying dead. His allies scattered. Pastor Elena still unconscious, her blood a debt he couldn't repay. He staggered from the ditch, wrapping his shirt around the wound, the 90-degree heat a furnace, and hitchhiked to a gas station 8 miles away, its neon sign buzzing, the clerk's wary glance a reminder of his fugitive status, the terrorist label from the news a shadow over his every move. Marcus, his voice hoarse, called Victor from a burner phone, the line crackling as the investor's icy tone answered, demanding the documents return for Lena's life, his words dripping with contempt. "You thought you could outsmart me, boy." Marcus, swallowing rage, agreed to retract Carla's report, negotiating a meet at a derelict lot 12 miles from the warehouse, his mind racing to save Lena without losing everything, the documents his only leverage. Victor's hitman, a specter in the shadows. He posted a video online, discrediting Carla, calling her report exaggerated. His voice breaking, the lie a knife to his soul, knowing it'd save Lena but torch his credibility. The post hitting 1 million views, hashtags flipping to, Marcus lied, the protests outside Victor's mansion fading, Carla's motel room dark, her trust in Marcus shattered. Victor, satisfied, released Lena at the lot, her wrists raw, her eyes hollow. Marcus rushing to her, hugging her under a flickering streetlight, the 90-degree air thick with diesel and relief. Lena whispering she'd recorded Victor's threats. On her phone, a 30-second clip of him boasting about the kidnapping, the bribes, the mayor's leash, her courage a spark in the dark. Marcus, heart-pounding, sent the recording to Truthslinger, the blogger who'd leaked the emails, the clip going viral, 5 million views in hours, Victor's voice a death knell. "I'll bury Langston and anyone who helps him." The audio, crystal, his empire crumbling, sponsors fleeing, his real estate deals collapsing, the mayor issuing a panicked denial, protests reigniting, 10,000 strong, demanding Victor's arrest, Sapphire Flame supporters rallying, pledging $30,000 to rebuild. Marcus, hiding Lena in a friend's attic 7 miles from downtown, felt a surge of triumph. The recording a sledgehammer, Victor's own words his undoing, Lena's safety a miracle, the city's rage a tide turning in his favor, the documents, still his ace, the hitman's failure proof Victor wasn't invincible. He hugged Lena, the attic's musty air alive with hope, believing the recording had broken Victor's spine, that Sapphire Flame could rise, Elena's church avenged, the mob's lies undone. But as dawn broke, a news alert shattered the quiet. A community center 3 miles away, where Marcus was set to speak, had exploded, a bomb ripping through its brick walls, injuring 40 people. The blast's roar caught on video, debris flying, screams piercing the 90-degree morning. The news blaming Marcus, calling him a terrorist mastermind, claiming he'd planted the device to punish his haters. The lie so monstrous it stole his breath. The death toll rising. Victor's retaliation a holocaust. Escalating. From kidnapping to mass violence, turning Marcus's victory to ash, the recording's fire snuffed out. The attic's walls closed in. Lena's gasp a knife. The news showing stretchers, bloodied faces. The center's mural of MLK charred. Hashtags flipping to mosh Marcus the terrorist. The donations halted. The protests turning to riots. The mayor vowing to hunt Langston down. Victor's hand clear in the bomb's precision, his wealth shielding him. The hitman's failure a prelude to this horror. Marcus's shoulder throbbed, his wound oozing. The documents useless if the city saw him as a monster. Lena's recording drowned by the blast's chaos. The community center's ruin a wound deeper than the church attack, the arson, the jail. Victor's game now slaughtering innocents, branding Marcus a pariah, the city's love a memory. He clutched Lena's hand, vowing to clear his name, to find Jamal, to expose the bombing, but the news vans circled, their cameras hungry, the riots' smoke rising, the 90-degree heat a prison, Marcus's guilt a tidal wave, the injured, a debt he couldn't bear, Victor's mayor connection a fortress, the gala's smirk now a vow of annihilation. The attic's shadows hid them, the city's sirens a threat, Marcus's resolve steel, planning to trace the bomb, to fight. But a chill gripped him, the blast scale, the terrorist label, proof Victor would burn the world to win. His next move a specter, colder, deadlier, ready to end Marcus and all he loved in a final unbreakable trap. Marcus Langston huddled in an abandoned warehouse, the community center bombing's aftermath a lead weight in his chest, the screams of 40 injured echoing louder than Lena's rescued sobs. Victor Hargrove's terrorist label a shackle that turned Atlanta's streets into a manhunt in the muggy 90-degree October dawn of 2025. The viral recording of Victor's threats, a fleeting triumph, was buried under news of the blast. Debris-strewn images of the MLK mural charred, Marcus's face branded a terrorist mastermind. A lie that stung worse than the kidnapping, the church mob, the arson of Sapphire Flame. Victor's racism now a tidal wave, drowning his name, his empire, his hope. Lena, safe in the attic, was his only anchor. But the city's riots, the mayor's vow to hunt him, and the frozen accounts left Marcus a ghost, his shoulder wound festering, the bullet graze a constant throb, the stolen documents useless in a world that saw him as a monster. The warehouse 10 miles from downtown reeked of rust and rot, its broken windows letting in humid air. But Marcus's mind stayed sharp, piecing together the bombing's clues, the bomb's precision, the mayor's quick blame, all pointing to Victor's wealth, his gala whisper a prophecy of a syndicate, a shadow network beyond the mayor, beyond the hitman, beyond the deepfake's lies. He scavenged a burner phone, its battery low, and contacted Rachel Nguyen, a 35-year-old FBI agent he'd met during the health lawsuit, her sharp eyes and no-nonsense voice a lifeline. Her texts confirming she believed the bombing was Victor's, not his. Her badge a slim chance against the city's wrath. Rachel met Marcus in the warehouse, her black SUV hidden behind rusted crates, her tablet glowing with files linking Victor to a syndicate, a cabal of elites who funded his bribes, rigged elections, and now bombed to frame Marcus, their power. A fortress he'd barely scratched with Carla's report, Lena's recording, the email leaks. Rachel, her ponytail tight, proposed a sting, luring Victor to a fake meet under the guise of buying back the documents, a trap to record his confession. Her FBI techs ready with mics, cameras, a warehouse 2 miles away rigged for the bust. Marcus, his wound oozing, agreed, his heart racing, the plan a gamble. But Victor's empire was cracking, the riots pushing the mayor to distance himself, the syndicate's names in the documents a sword to wield. They set the trap, Marcus texting Victor from a spoofed number, offering the documents for $5 million. The meet at dusk, the warehouse's concrete floor slick with oil, Rachel's team in shadows, their radios silent, the 90-degree, air thick with tension, Marcus's pulse a drum as Victor arrived, his silver hair gleaming, his tailored suit a taunt, his voice cold. "You're a pest, Langston, but I'll end this." Marcus, wired, baited him, mentioning the syndicate, the mayor, the bomb. Victor's ego cracking, his confession spilling. "I ordered the center hit to bury you. The mayor's mine. The syndicate owns this state." Each word caught on tape, Rachel's signal flashing, agents swarming, cuffs snapping on Victor's wrists, his snarl a fleeting thrill, the arrest a blaze of victory. Marcus's fist clenched, believing he'd won. Sapphire Flame's ashes redeemable, Lena safe, Elena's blood avenged. The agents hustled Victor to a van, Rachel slapping Marcus's back, her grin a rare light, the tape a key to dismantle the syndicate, the mayor's name enough to spark federal probes, the city's riots calming, news of Victor's arrest hitting, airwaves 1 million views in minutes. Yes, Hargrove cage trending, Marcus's terrorist label fading, supporters pledging $40,000 to rebuild. He exhaled, the warehouse's gloom lifting, thinking the sting was his checkmate. Victor's empire dust, his own name half cleared, a path to freedom opening. But as Rachel led him to her SUV, tires screeched outside, a black van bursting through the warehouse doors, 6 mercenaries in tactical gear spilling out, their silenced rifles spitting, bullets pinging off crates. Rachel diving, her pistol drawn, Marcus's wound screaming as he rolled behind a steel drum, the syndicate's retaliation a lightning bolt, Victor's arrest a spark that lit their fury, their orders to kill, not capture, a war beyond the hitman, the bomb, the mob. The shootout erupted, muzzle flashes like strobe lights, Rachel's agents returning fire, one falling, blood pooling, Marcus grabbing a dropped Glock, his hands shaking, firing blindly, hitting a mercenary's leg, the man's scream lost in the chaos, Rachel shouting his name. Her arm grazed, her SUV's tires shot out, the 90-degree air choked with gunpowder, the warehouse a slaughterhouse. Marcus, heart pounding, dragged Rachel to cover, a bullet tearing through his side, blood soaking his shirt, pain blinding, his vision blurring as he fired again, downing another mercenary, the others closing in, their radios crackling. Finish. Langston, the syndicate's voice a death knell, Victor's cuffs meaningless, his network alive, lethal, unstoppable. Rachel, bleeding, tossed Marcus her keys, pointing to a back exit, her voice hoarse. Run, I'll hold them. But Marcus, staggering, refused, pulling her with him, the mercenary's boots pounding, a grenade's pin clinking, the blast, shaking the warehouse, shrapnel grazing his leg, his body screaming. But he shoved Rachel out, collapsing in the alley, blood pooling, sirens wailing, the mercenaries vanishing, their van's roar fading, the syndicate's vow to finish him a whisper in the chaos. Marcus's breath hitched, his side a furnace, Rachel's hand on his chest, her voice distant, the 90-degree night swallowing him, the sting's triumph ash, Victor's arrest a trap, the syndicate's power a mountain, the mayor's shadow a grave, the gala's smirk a promise of endless war. He clung to the documents, his blood staining them, vowing to rise to save Rachel, to expose the syndicate. But a chill gripped him, his pulse fading, the mercenaries' radios, the grenade's echo, proof the syndicate was Victor's true face. Their next move a blade sharper, colder, ready to end him as the sirens closed in. His fate a question mark, the city's pulse a requiem. Marcus Langston's vision blurred, blood seeping from the bullet wound in his side, the warehouse shootout's chaos ringing in his ears as Rachel's voice faded, her hand pressing his chest. Atlanta's 90-degree October night in 2025, a feverish haze, the syndicate's mercenaries vanishing into the dark. Victor Hargrove's arrest a hollow victory, the sting's taped confession now a spark in a powder keg, the city's sirens closing in like hounds, the community center bombing, Lena's kidnapping, Sapphire Flame's ashes, all paled against this. Victor's syndicate a hydra, its claws sharper than the hitman's bullets, the deepfake, the church mob, systemic racism a blade that cut deeper with every blow, the gala's smirk a prophecy of endless war. Marcus, slipping into darkness, clung to the documents, his blood staining them. Rachel's SUV screeching to a hospital 15 miles away, her badge flashing to bypass cops, his pulse a faint thread as medics swarmed, the ER's sterile lights, a distant star, his survival a coin toss, Lena's face his only anchor, the syndicate's radioed vow to finish Langston, a death knell. Days blurred, Marcus waking in a hidden clinic 10 miles from downtown, Rachel's safe house, his side stitched, his shoulder wound festering, the 90-degree air heavy with antiseptic and dread, news of Victor's arrest looping, 1 million views. But the syndicate's shadow loomed, their plan to frame Marcus for Victor's crimes, a life sentence in a federal pen, a final twist to bury him. Rachel, her arm bandaged, showed him intercepted chatter, the syndicate's headquarters, a sleek office tower 5 miles away, holding a hard drive with their full network, names, bribes, bomb schematics, enough to end them, but guarded by ex-military, cameras and steel doors, a fortress mocking his stitched body, his dwindling strength. Marcus, fueled by rage for Elena's blood, Lena's terror, the 40 bombing victims refused to hide. His mind sharp despite the pain, plotting with Rachel to infiltrate, her FBI contacts cut off, the mayor's influence a wall, the syndicates, reach choking even federal lines, the gala's whisper now a roar of untouchable power. Marcus limping, trained with Dion, Maria, and Simone, reunited in the safe house, their loyalty afire. Dion's hacking skills mapping the tower's security, Maria's street smarts charting an entry, Simone's charm securing a janitor's uniform, the plan a suicide run, but the hard drive their last shot. The bombing scars a debt Marcus swore to pay. At midnight, under a moonless sky, Marcus slipped into the tower, the uniform itching, his stitches pulling, the 90-degree heat a furnace, Dion's virus disabling cameras, Maria's lookout sharp, Simone's fake ID fooling the guard, his heart pounding as he rode the elevator to the 30th floor, the syndicate's server room a vault of glass and steel, its hum a taunt. He cracked the lock, Dion's code buzzing in his earpiece, and yanked the hard drive. Its weight a promise. Files listing senators, CEOs, even FBI moles, the bombing's blueprint, Victor's orders, a map of corruption that could free Marcus, avenge Sapphire Flame, heal Elena. He bolted, alarms screaming, guards' boots thundering, a 15-story sprint down stairwells, bullets grazing his arm, blood dripping, Maria's truck waiting, the 5-mile escape a blur, cop cars weaving, the 90-degree dawn breaking as Marcus, gasping, plugged the drive into Rachel's laptop, broadcasting live on Truthslinger's site, 10 million views in minutes, the syndicate unveiled, names read aloud, the mayor's face among them, the bombing's truth bared, the city erupting, protests swelling, 20,000 strong, feds raiding syndicate offices, mass arrests, the mayor cuffed on live TV, Victor's cell a footnote, the hard drive a guillotine. Marcus, hiding in a motel 8 miles away, watched the world shift, the terrorist label gone, Marcus hero trending, donations pouring in, $100,000, Sapphire Flame's rebuild pledged, the city hailing him, Lena texting tears of pride. Elena waking, her church praying, Marcus's chest swelling, believing he'd won. The syndicate shattered, his empire rising from ash, the documents, the recording, the sting all worth it. He accepted an invite to speak at a rally, 3 miles from the bombed center, its stage draped in black for the victims. 10,000 gathered, their cheers a roar, Marcus's voice booming, thanking Rachel, Dion, Maria, Simone, vowing to rebuild, to fight racism, his words a beacon, news cameras rolling, 50 million views, the 90-degree sun blazing, his stitches hidden under a crisp shirt, his wounds a badge, the crowd chanting his name, a hero's welcome, the city his again. But as he raised his fist, a crack split the air, a syndicate survivor, a lone gunman in the crowd, his silenced pistol flashing, a bullet tearing through Marcus's chest, blood blooming, the crowd screaming, his body crumpling on the stage, Lena's cry piercing the chaos, Rachel diving, her gun drawn, the gunman vanishing, the rally a war zone, medics swarming, Marcus's breath shallow, his vision fading, the hard drive's victory ash, the syndicate's reach unbroken, their final shot a public execution, colder, deadlier than the bombing, the hitman, the mob, the city's love a fragile shield, the gala's smirk a vow fulfilled. Marcus's blood pooled, the stage's wood slick, the crowd's phones filming, the news calling it Langston's fall, his hero's crown a target, Lena's hand on his, Rachel's voice a distant plea, the 90-degree heat a grave, his resolve flickering, vowing to live, to expose the survivor, to rebuild. But a chill gripped him, the gunman's escape, the syndicate's shadow, proof their war wasn't over, their next move a specter, sharper, final, ready to end him as the medic's shouts faded, his fate a heartbeat from oblivion, the city's pulse a dirge. Marcus Langston's blood soaked the rally stage, the syndicate gunman's bullet a molten spike through his chest. Lena's scream cutting through the crowd's panic as Atlanta's 90-degree October sun beat down in 2025. The city's cheers. For his hard drive expose twisting into chaos, the hero's crown shattered, Victor Hargrove's shadow a guillotine, the syndicate's vengeance colder than the community center bombing, the hitman's chase, the church mob, each blow a testament to systemic racism's endless war, the gala's smirk now a death sentence fulfilled. His vision faded, the stage's wood slick, Rachel's voice a distant echo, medic's hands a blur, the 10-mile ambulance ride to Emory Hospital a fever dream, his pulse flickering, the hard drive's victory, the mayor's arrest, Victor's cuffs, all ash as the syndicate's reach proved unbreakable. Their survivors shot a public execution, Lena's tears, Elena's blood, Sapphire Flame's ashes a litany of losses, the city's love a fragile shield against a machine that fed on his defiance. Marcus woke days later, tubes snaking from his arms, the hospital's sterile air chilling his stitched chest. The 90-degree heat outside a faint hum through sealed windows. Lena at his bedside, her eyes red, Rachel pacing, her arm still, bandaged from the warehouse shootout, the TV looping his rally collapse, 10 million views, Psycher Marcus lives trending, the city's guilt a tidal wave, donations pouring in, $200,000, protests swelling, 30,000 strong, demanding justice, the syndicate's names from the hard drive sparking FBI raids, 50 arrests, senators, CEOs, even the mayor's aides cuffed, the bombing's truth bared, Marcus's terrorist label erased, his name a beacon again, Atlanta's mayor resigning, the city council honoring Marcus with a medal, a key to the city, their speeches calling him unbreakable, Sapphire Flame's rebuild pledged, $5 million from crowdfunding, the community center's victims memorialized, Elena waking, her church praying, the city's pulse a hymn of redemption, Marcus propped on pillows, his side throbbing, watch the news, his chest swelling, Lena's hand in his, Rachel's nod a silent vow, the syndicate dismantled, their tower a ghost, Victor's cell a federal pen, his real estate empire dust, the gala's power broken, the documents, the recording, the sting, the hard drive all worth it. Sapphire Flame's new foundation laid, its steel beams rising 3 miles from the bombed center, the scent of fresh concrete a promise, his staff, Dion, Maria, Simone planning a grand reopening, the city's love a fortress, his legacy reborn, the mob's thief, Chance, the deepfake's lies, the arson's flames fading like nightmares. He stood shaky at a hospital press conference, 7 miles from the rally, his voice steady, thanking Atlanta, vowing to rebuild, to fight racism. The crowd's applause a roar, 50,000 views, his medal gleaming, Lena's smile alight, Rachel's FBI probe expanding, the syndicate's moles rooted out, the mayor's replacement pledging reform, Marcus's heart full believing he'd won, the war over, his empire secure, Elena's sermon echoing, rise prophet rise, the city his again, the bombing scars healing, the hitman's bullet a memory, the syndicate's survivor, lone wolf, no match for his fire, but as he returned to his room, a nurse handed him a letter, its envelope unmarked, the handwriting Victor's, penned before his arrest, its words a cold blade. Dear Langston, you thought you fought me, but I orchestrated every step, the spill, the deepfake, the bomb, the syndicate, all to teach you your place. A black man who dared rise too high, my network lives, watching you waiting. The final line, a gut punch. I'm not done. Marcus's hands shook, the hospital's hum fading, Lena's gasp a knife, the letter a revelation. Victor's master plan a chessboard where Marcus was a pawn, the waiter's soup, Laura's betrayal, Tyrell's leak, the bombing, the kidnapping, all moves in a game to break him. The syndicate's arrests a feint, their true power hidden. The survivors shot a warning, not an end. Victor's cell a stage, his gala smirk a script, the mayor a puppet, the city a board. Marcus's victories, orchestrated to deepen his fall. The rebuilt Sapphire Flame a trap, the metal allure, the city's love a mirage. He clutched the letter, the 90-degree air a prison, his chest wound aching, Lena's eyes wide, Rachel's tablet buzzing with new syndicate chatter, coded messages hinting at a shadow leader, a name unspoken. The letters watching you, a vow, the hospital's walls closing in, the city's cheers hollow, the crowdfunding a potential snare, the reopening a stage for a new strike. Victor's network a hydra, its heads regrowing, the bombing's 40 victims a prelude, Elena's recovery a fleeting grace, the hard drive's truth a half-win, the mayor's fall a distraction. Marcus's resolve steel but his body frail, his mind racing to find Rachel, to trace the shadow leader, to protect Lena, to rebuild. But the letters wait a boulder, Victor's plan a labyrinth, the gala's whisper a blueprint, the syndicate's survivor a pawn, the true enemy a ghost, their reach beyond Atlanta, beyond Victor, beyond the city's pulse. Marcus stood, the hospital's linoleum slick, his metal heavy, vowing to fight, to expose the shadow, to rise again. Sapphire Flame his banner, Lena his heart, Rachel his sword, the city's love his fuel. But a chill gripped him. The letters. I'm not done, a prophecy. The survivor's bullet a spark. The shadow leader's name a void. The syndicate's eyes everywhere. The reopening's date 1 month away, a ticking clock. The city's skyline a threat. The 90-degree heat a forge. His wounds a reminder. The letter's ink a blade. Victor's game unfinished. A new enemy. Stirring. Their moves sharper, colder, deadlier. Ready to strike as Marcus stepped into the light. His fate a question. The city's hope a fragile flame. The war's end a lie. The truth a specter, waiting to unravel everything he'd fought to build. Marcus Langston's saga in Waiter Spills Food on Black CEO, not knowing he owns the restaurant, unveils profound truths about resilience against systemic racism. First, racism operates through insidious layers. Ethan's spill, Victor's, deepfake, the syndicate's bombing, each a calculated strike to demean and destroy, teaching us that prejudice isn't just personal, but institutional, woven into media, law, and power structures. Marcus's fight from exposing Victor's bribes to broadcasting the syndicate's crimes shows that courage and cunning can challenge these systems. But the cost, his restaurant's ashes, Elena's injury, Lena's kidnapping, is a stark reminder that justice demands sacrifice. Second, trust is fragile. Laura's betrayal, Tyrell's blackmail, even the mob's turn against Marcus highlight how racism exploits relationships, urging us to choose allies wisely, yet remain open to redemption, as Rachel's loyalty proves. Third, victories are fleeting. Marcus's lawsuit win, the recordings leak, the hard drive's exposure all crumbled under Victor's relentless counterattacks, teaching us that perseverance must outlast setbacks, as Marcus's survival embodies. Finally, Victor's letter, revealing his orchestration, underscores that systemic racism is a hydra. Cutting one head spawns another, demanding vigilance beyond a single foe. Marcus's vow to rebuild Sapphire Flame, despite the shadow leader's threat, inspires us to rise, to fight, to hope, no matter the odds. What's the biggest lesson you take from Marcus's battle against racism? Comment below, hit like, subscribe, and share to amplify these stories of resistance. Thank you for joining this journey. May you find strength to stand tall against injustice today and always.